We live in a paradox. Never before in human history have we been more socially connected, and yet never have we been so disconnected from the one place we all come from. Modern urban life has brought more people closer together, and through innovation and incredible growth, cities have become these hyper-stimulating places where most of us live, work, fall in love, and create. But over time, cities have also become buffers between ourselves and the land that supports us, buffers that reduce our direct sensory contact with nature, buffers that dull our awareness of how much our actions affect the earth and how deeply the earth affects us. What's more, living in cities means we spend most of our lifetime indoors, in buildings, in vehicles, connecting with glowing screens, disconnecting from nature. And this disconnected urban life has also brought something quieter, more insidious. Sedentary bodies, chronic stress, overwork, loneliness, and a sharp rise in anxiety, depression, and burnout. Sounds familiar? And this disconnection is deepening. And as it does, it's no surprise that we're witnessing a growing environmental crisis, and in turn, a rise in climate grief and solastalgia. Solastalgia is a word that blends two meanings. Solas, which means comfort, and the Greek word algia, which means pain or suffering. It describes the pain we feel when watching the place we love disappear or degrade. Think, for example, of the stories your grandparents used to tell you of the nature they once knew. The rivers, the forests, the presence of more animals, the seasons as they used to be. My fear is that as our lived experience of nature continues to shrink, so will our stories. And our grandchildren may never get to experience solastalgia if there is nothing left to grieve. See, as a professor studying forests and climate resilience, often in cities, I notice solastalgia and climate grief among my students. They feel the environmental crisis is too large, too complex, and far too removed from their daily lives for any meaningful action. With time, I've come to believe that if we want to overcome grief, feel empowered, and care for the earth, we must first experience our belonging within it. I mean, if I'm honest, my own life used to mirror this disconnection. When I moved to Vancouver years ago, I felt burnout, juggling my PhD and a demanding job for many years. I had adopted many sedentary behaviors, and I felt isolated. I spent most of the time in front of my screen, and I barely went outside, unless to do research. And working on environmental issues intensified my deep grief for the planet. This grief became depression when I went through a separation and lost my anchor, my sense of safety and belonging. I got to a point where I knew deep inside, something has to change. Perhaps you have experienced something like this. That's when nature helped me and reframe my entire life trajectory. Or perhaps more accurately, when nature patiently waited for me to notice and remember. I began to realize that after spending time in the forest, something in me would soften. So I started going back daily. I returned to the same green spaces, visited the same trees, noticed their shape, their texture, felt their unique presence. And this embodied practice in nature became my refuge, a practice that gave me solace, comfort, and helped me self-regulate. A practice that reminded me that I was not broken, I was whole. And I'm not alone. Nature has my back. My relationship with nature deepened when I trained as a forest therapy guide. I started guiding others on immersive walks through the forest, inviting them to slow down, to breathe more fully, to gently engage their senses, to listen to the sounds of birds, and to notice the wind moving through leaves, to smell the forest air and feel it on the skin, to notice the complexity of colors, the many shapes, the different textures, to feel your bodies settle as you deepen your breathing and connect with the surroundings. To notice how you're part of nature around you. And imagine yourselves growing into it. Allowing your heart to feel and relate to what's happening right now. Feels good, doesn't it? A glimpse of nature's profound power. Now, back to the red dot. Guiding people through these sensorial experiences in nature, I observed a consistent pattern. Again and again, people would loosen up, both physically and emotionally. Nervous systems began to regulate. People relaxed, and mental fatigue eased through something we call soft fascination, a form of effortless attention that allows our brain's executive networks to recover. And so stress, grief, and painful life experiences slowly found room to move. Actually, studies confirm what most of us know intuitively. Mindful time in nature restores us. And my research on forest therapy shows that this nature-based practice also helps people develop personal resilience, not by avoiding hardship, but by seeing life with greater flexibility, by understanding that loss, change, and renewal are all part of the natural cycles. And as we feel restored, I notice something else emerges, a sense of grounding, a sense of connection, a sense of belonging, and then, almost inevitably, a call. The call to give back. This is where hope quietly takes root, and with it, action. Across cities, I'm observing a powerful movement emerge, led not by institutions, but by people. Through interviews, I learned from individuals organizing to bring nature back to schools and neighborhoods, communities creating Miyawaki or mini forests, healing forests, rewilding parks, organizing community gardens, urban greening efforts growing from the grassroots up. And these are ways to respond to climate grief and reclaim agency, to become stewards rather than passive observers, to create pockets of the future in the present. And as these community-driven initiatives continue to spread, so does something else. Seeds of hope, a sense of place, the feeling of coming home. Because when relationships with place become personal, like this, environmental responsibility and stewardship move from ideology into lived experience. So I would like to end with an invitation. Actually, two. First, make time to be with nature. Reintegrate nature time into your lives as a regular practice, not the occasional escape. Aim for frequent, embodied contact several times a week. It doesn't need to be far away or anything extravagant. In fact, make it easy. My campus, for example, is promoting daily nature snacks among students. Remember, being with nature does not demand your productivity, just your presence. What matters really is the quality of the experience. To slow down, to notice with all senses, to let it be personal, let it be relational. And second, as your relationship with nature deepens, listen for the call. And when you hear it, let yourself co-create with nature. For some of you, this may mean stewarding a rewilding project in your communities. For others, it may be raising children that have deep relationships with the land. For others still, like in my case, it may be creating experiences that help people reconnect with nature through embodiment. This has been my personal way to give back, to show reciprocity in restoration. A path that has also helped me realize my life partner in love and purpose. However it looks like for you, become active part and feel empowered to remember, not as an idea, but as a felt truth, that we're not separate from nature, we are nature. So this is the message to take home. We're not going to solve the environmental crisis by thinking our way out of it, but by restoring a relationship with nature that reminds us deep in our bodies that the earth is not something we live on, it's something we live with. Caring for the earth comes from experiencing our belonging within it. Thank you.